The year we held the Great Southern Feminist Conference, I was still following around behind Lee. She volunteered us to handle the food for the 200 women that were expected. Lee wanted us to serve healthy food, her vegetarian spaghetti sauce, whole wheat pasta, and salad with cold, fresh vegetables. Snacks would be granola, fresh fruit, and peanut butter on 7-grain bread. For breakfast, she wanted me to cook grits in a 20-quart pan, though she wasn't sure margarine would be healthier than butter, and maybe most people would just like granola anyway. "They'll want donuts and coffee," I told her matter-of-factly. I had a vision of myself standing in front of 100 angry lesbians, crying out for coffee and white sugar. Lee soothed me with kisses and poppy seed cake made with gluten flour, and assured me that it would be fun to run the kitchen with her. The week before the conference, Lee went from church to campus borrowing enormous pots, colanders, and baking trays. 10 flat baking trays convinced her that the second dinner we had to cook would be tofu lasagna with skim milk mozzarella and lots of chopped carrots. I spent the week sitting in front of the pool table in Jay's apartment, peeling and slicing carrots, potatoes, onions, green and red peppers, leeks, tomatoes, and squash. The slices were dumped in 10-gallon garbage bags and stored in Jay's handy floor model freezer. I put a tablecloth down over the pool table to protect the green felt and made mounds of vegetables over each pocket corner. Every mound cut down and transferred to a garbage bag was a victory. I was winning the war on vegetables until the committee Lee had scarred up delivered another load. I drank coffee and chopped carrots, ate a chicken pot pie and peeled potatoes, drank iced tea and sliced peppers. I peeled the onions but didn't slice them, dropped them into a big vat of cold water to keep. I found a meat cleaver on the back porch and used it to chop the zucchini and squash, pretending I was doing karate and breaking boards. "Bite-sized," Lee told me as she ran through. "It should all be bite-sized." I wanted to bite her. I drank cold coffee and dropped tomatoes one at a time into boiling water to loosen their skins. There were supposed to be other women helping me, but only one showed up, and she went home after she got a rash from the tomatoes. I got out a beer, put on the radio loud, switching it back and forth from rock and roll to the country and western station, and sang along as I chopped. I kept working. The only food left in the apartment was vegetables. I wanted to have pizza delivered, but had no money. When I got hungry, I ate carrots on white bread with mayonnaise, slices of tomatoes between slices of raw squash, and leeks I dipped in a jar of low-sodium peanut butter. I threw up 3 times, but kept working. 4 hours before the first women were to arrive, I took the last bushel basket of carrots out in the backyard and hid it under a tarp with a lawnmower. I laughed to myself as I did, swaying on rubbery legs. Lee drove up in a borrowed pickup truck with 2 women who'd come in from Atlanta and volunteered to help. One of them kept talking about the no mucus diet as she loaded the truck. I went in the bathroom, threw up again, and then just sat on the tailgate in the sun while they finished up. "You getting lazy, girl?" Lee teased me. "Better rev it up. We got cooking to do." I wiped my mouth and imagined burying her under a truckload of carrots. I felt like I had been drinking whiskey, but my stomach was empty and flat. The blacktop on the way out to the Girl Scout camp seemed to ripple and sway in the sunlight. Lee kept talking about the camp kitchen, the big black glass gas stove, and the walk-in freezer. "This is going to be fun." I didn't think so. The onions still had to be sliced. I got hysterical when someone picked up my knife. Lee was giggling with a woman I'd never seen before, the 2 of them talking about microbiotic cooking while rinsing brown noodles. I got the meat cleaver and started chopping onions in big, raw chunks. "Bite-sized," Lee called to me in a cheerful voice. "You want 'em bite-sized? You cut them," I told her, and went on chopping furiously. It was late when we finally cleaned up. I hadn't been able to eat anything. The smell of the sauce had made me dizzy, and the scum that rinsed off the noodles looked iridescent and dangerous. My stomach curled up into a knot inside me, and I glowered at the woman and I glowered at the women who came in and wanted hot water for tea. There were women sitting on the steps out on the deck, women around the campfire over the water pump, naked women swimming out to the raft in the lake, and skinny, muscled women dancing continuously in the rec room. Lee had gone off with her new friend, the macrobiotic cook. I found a loaf of Wonder Bread someone had left on the snack table, pulled out a slice, and ate it in tiny bites. Want some? It was one of the women from Atlanta. She held out a brown bag from which a bottle top protruded. It would make me sick. Nah, she grinned. It's just a yoo-hoo. I got a stash of them in a cooler. Got a bad stomach myself. Only thing it likes is chocolate soda and barbecue. Barbecue, I sighed. My mouth flooded with saliva. I haven't made barbecue in years. You make beef ribs? She sipped at her yoo-hoo and sat down beside me. I have, but if you got the time to do it slow pit cooking, pork's better. My stomach suddenly growled loudly, a grating, angry noise in the night. Girl, she laughed, you still hungry? Well, to tell you the truth, I couldn't eat any of that stuff. I was embarrassed. My new friend giggled. Neither did I. I had peanuts and yoo-hoo for dinner myself. I laughed with her. My name's Marty. You come up to Atlanta sometime, we'll drive over to Marietta and get some of the best barbecue they make in the world. The best barbecue in the world? Bar none. She handed me the bottle of yoo-hoo. Can't be. I sipped a little. It was sweet and almost warm. You don't trust my judgment? Someone opened the porch door, and I saw in the light that her face was relaxed, her blue eyes twinkling. I trust you. You didn't eat any of those damn noodles, did you? You're trustworthy, but you can't have the best barbecue in the world up near Atlanta. 'Cause the best barbecue in the world is just a couple miles down the Perry Highway. You say, I do. We both laughed, and she slid her hip closer to mine. I shivered, and she pulled her arm around me. We talked, and I told her my name. It turned out we knew some of the same people. She had even been involved with a woman I'd seen since college. I was so tired I leaned my head on her shoulder. She rubbed my neck and told me a series of terribly dirty jokes until I started shaking more from giggling. Gotta get you to bed. She started to pull me up. I took hold of her belt, leaned over, and kissed her. She kissed me. We sat back down and just kissed for a while. Her mouth was soft and tasted of sweet, watery chocolate. Uh-huh, she said a few times. Uh-huh. Uh-huh, I giggled back. Yes, I think we're going to have to check out this barbecue. Her hands were as soft as her mouth, and they slipped under the waistband of my jeans and hugged my belly. You weren't fixed on having that tofu lasagna tomorrow, were you? Gonna break my heart to miss it, I can tell you. It was hard to talk with my lips pressed to hers. She licked my lips, the sides of my mouth, my cheek, my eyelids, and then put her lips up to my ears. Oh, but think. Her hands didn't stop moving, and I had to push myself back from her to keep from wetting my pants. Think about tomorrow afternoon when we come back from our little road trip, hauling in all that barbecue, coleslaw, and hush puppies. We're gonna make so many friends around here. She paused. They do make hush puppies at this place, don't they? Of course. If we get there early enough, we might even pick up some blackberry cobbler at this truck stop I know. My stomach grumbled again loudly. I don't think you've been eating right, Marty giggled. Gonna have to feed you some healthy food, girl. Some healthy food.